Greetings and welcome to the National 4-H Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony and Awards Program. Please stand and join me in honoring our 2020 laureates as they enter the auditorium. Please be seated. Hello, I am Samantha Mozina, a 4-H alumna from Ohio who explored a wide variety of projects, including leadership, clothing, natural resources, and engineering. In addition to exhibiting at livestock shows with a variety of species such as poultry, goats, sheep, rabbits, and swine, I also participated in many different 4-H programs at the county, state, and national level, including Junior Fair Board, Camp Counselors, Junior Leaders, Poultry Committee, Ohio 4-H Teen Leadership Council, Citizenship Washington Focus, and National 4-H Congress. Currently, I'm a student at Ohio University enrolled in the Masters of Public Administration program. I am pleased to guide this year's event as the Mistress of Ceremonies as we induct our 2020 laureates into the National 4-H Hall of Fame. I hope you enjoyed the outstanding musical presentation from our 4-H friend as much as I did. Abigail Hawk. Abigail Hawk from Pennsylvania is a 10-year 4-H member that has enjoyed attending and participating in Pennsylvania State Conference and the A.B. Ross leadership programs. Through these experiences, Abigail has enriched her understanding of leadership, which have provided her with the skills to serve in officer positions. Abigail is a proud recipient of the I Dare You Award given to her during the Franklin County 4-H Recognition Night. Currently, Abigail is serving as Vice President of Internal Affairs on the Pennsylvania State Council. We look forward to hearing more from Abigail later in the program. No one achieves greatness without being of service. Service is the essence of greatness and involves giving of one's talent and ability in the service of others. No matter how small our talent or ability, we too can make a great contribution in serving others. Each of our 2020 laureates uncovered his or her talent and gave much to 4-H. They knew intently what needed to be done, loved what they were doing, and believed in what they were accomplishing. In their individual uniqueness, each laureate found ways to multiply his or her efforts. This remarkable class of professionals and volunteers have spent hours creating new 4-H programs to inspire rural, urban, and suburban youth, reaching out to underserved populations locally and abroad, and bringing communities together to expanded educational opportunities. Tonight, we celebrate each laureate's accomplishments and the impact they have had in growing the 4-H program from the local level to around the world. Before we meet our laureates, I would like to share with you the history of the National 4-H Hall of Fame. It began in 2002 when the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, National 4-H Council, and 4-H headquarters partnered to create this recognition opportunity during 4-H's centennial year. The National 4-H Hall of Fame recognizes 4-H volunteers, financial supporters, staff, and pioneers who have made major contributions within the 4-H movement at the local, state, and national levels. Each land-grant university from across the nation may nominate one candidate per year, while the founding partners of the Hall of Fame may nominate up to 3 candidates. These candidates represent 4-H in the broadest sense. Candidates may have been a 4-H volunteer, financial supporter, extension professional, or staff employee who has significantly impacted 4-H through his or her contributions of time, energy, or financial resources. Through the past 18 years, we have honored many 4-H supporters and contributors. Tonight, we are privileged to have some of our previous National 4-H Hall of Fame honorees with us. Would all previous National 4-H Hall of Fame members please stand as we honor you in your dedication to 4-H. Thank you all for joining us this evening to honor our newest laureates. We also remember those National 4-H Hall of Fame members who have passed since our last time together. Please join me in a moment of silence in their honor. We remain grateful for their 4-H legacy. At this time, we invite Jeanette Ray Keywood, Chair of the National Association of Extension 4-H Youth Development Professionals Committee, to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Samantha. Good evening and welcome. I am truly honored to recognize this distinguished group of laureates and welcome each of the family members, friends, and colleagues that are here to honor them. 4-H has influenced each of our lives in a very special way. And this group of individuals that we are recognizing today have impacted the lives of many through their years of involvement in the 4-H movement. On behalf of the 3 partners that sponsored this event, the Division of Youth and 4-H at USDA, National 4-H Council, and the National Association of Extension 4-H Youth Development Professionals, the Hall of Fame Committee congratulates each of you on this most distinguished honor. We hope everyone enjoys the evening, and let's celebrate our laureates.
Thank you, Jeanette, for serving as the chair of the National 4-H Hall of Fame Committee. Please help me extend our thanks to all the committee members for their dedicated work to prepare for tonight's ceremony. Let us now welcome the Extension partners to share their greetings with the 2020 laureates, families, and guests. Our first partner representing the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture is Dr. R. Brent Elrod, Acting Director of the Division of Youth and 4-H.
Thank you, Samantha. Greetings all, welcome class. I'm Brent Elrod. I'm not a doctor, I'm a mister, but delighted to be with you on behalf of the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture, where I'm the Acting Division Director for Youth and 4-H, and also a new position that NIFA recently created called the National Science Liaison for 4-H and Community Development. It's an opportunity for NIFA to continue to stand up and honor the work that the laureates have helped to develop and instill, and for us to take it to the next levels. I also bring greetings and congratulations from NIFA's director, Dr. Carrie Castile. Dr. Castile is a proud 4-H'er and cites the training and support she received as a Louisiana 4-H member, helping her develop clear goals and leading her down the path to career service in a science agency at USDA. As most of you are well aware, 4-H is the youth development program of the USDA and is implemented by the Cooperative Extension Service throughout the U.S. and our land-grant universities. Over 3,500 cooperative extension professionals and 500,000 volunteers help reach youth each year. So you are a select few being lifted up and honored into the Hall of Fame. As administrators, specialists, faculty, volunteers, donors, your contributions have stood out, deserving of commemoration at this highest level, and yes, for time immemorial. And as you are inducted today, we know there are countless youth, many now adults, whose hearts and minds were challenged and lifted by your efforts. Congratulations.
Next, we welcome to the podium Suzanne Alt-Bortz, 2021 President of the National Association of Extension 4-H Youth Development Professionals.
I am truly honored to be here as the president of the Association for 4-H. We changed our name last year. We used to always say just 4-H Association. Now it's the National Association of 4-H Youth Development Professionals. And truly, when I look down at the folks that we are going to recognize, they are our heroes because they've made it possible for us to succeed in our 4-H programs for the past 75 and more years. And we really are here because our program continues to be successful because of all of your efforts. This year we'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary in Memphis, and we will again recognize these folks in front of all the members that will be attending, both in person and virtual. So we thank you for your efforts, and we hope you have a delightful evening.
Our final greeting comes from Jennifer Sarangelo, President and Chief Executive Officer of the National 4-H Council. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening. It's my honor to be here tonight and to help be a part of this amazing celebration where we really feature and take a moment to just focus on the dedication and commitment it takes to have an impact at the scale of 4-H. And as Brent said, you are the highest level of recognition when it comes to how we celebrate the profession of 4-H positive youth development. At National 4-H Council, I bring greetings from our board of directors and all of our employees, a few of whom are here tonight and wanted to be here as a part of this celebration. So it's our honor. I want to say congratulations and thank you for all you've done to create the amazing family of 4-H 4-H alumni who today are contributing to our country in major ways, from being governors to serving on Capitol Hill as elected members, serving in state houses, CEOs, moms, dads, in all communities. You've been a part of the impact they're making today, so thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your inspiring words with our laureates and guests. Please join me in thanking our Extension partners for their contribution and support of this evening. As we move forward with tonight's celebration, we will meet each of the 16 honored National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates or their representative. Each laureate will have an opportunity to share his or her contribution to the 4-H program. Each story will add to the rich 4-H tapestry across our nation. Please join me as we learn about the many ways these laureates have impacted 4-H through careers of service and leading by example. David and Sue Benedotti devoted many years to 4-H locally, nationally, and internationally. Each contributed as members, IFEs, and educators in their respective home states of Oregon and Wyoming. Through USDA and the National 4-H Foundation, and internationally in India and other foreign ministries, David says 4-H was a calling, and IFE was the inspiration that ignited his career choice that developed into a lifelong vocation in international program development. As a young professional, David applied 4-H to methods to lead life skill trainings and community action planning initiatives for Afghan refugees to strengthen proficiency in artisan trades to help rebuild war-torn Afghanistan. While Sue's experiences through 4-H enabled her to teach and write youth development handbooks for international programs as she co-authored a youth leadership handbook for Liberia 4-H. Together, David and Sue integrated and founded the National 4-H History Preservation Program, working tirelessly to rescue and preserve 4-H's history. As the Benedettis would say, 4-H gave us our marriage, shaped our careers, built our personal value system, and expanded our worldview. We owe it a lot. National 4-H Council is honored to have nominated the outstanding couple. Please welcome Dave and Sue's daughter, Alicia Hammers, to accept the reward.
We are greatly saddened that we cannot join in tonight's celebration. Sue is in the hospital with a broken leg, and I'm in the hospital with edema, kidney, and heart issues. We're grateful to National Council, NEFA, USDA, and the National Association of 4-H Youth Development Professionals for including us in this honored group. We found that the values learned in 4-H apply to many careers and feel privileged to draw on them throughout our youth work, both here and abroad. When in Namibia, Sue created a rural youth clubs with FAO support, and in elementary schools across the Angola border, schools in my educational project recruited parents to volunteer in the classroom and form student interest groups, many modeled on 4-H projects, fish farms and gardens to improve nutrition and provide a source of income. They built activity halls, planted fruit orchards, and sponsored school equipment, all similar to 4-H and run by partnership between students and parents. The 4-H idea was powerful and the need was great, and the communities grew together. That idea is still powerful, and we estimate about 180 countries adopted the 4-H model through the years. After return to the U.S., we, with a group of seasoned 4-H staff, created the 4-H History Preservation Program to save historical documentation of the 100-plus years of 4-H. A major part of that was to catalog all the original artwork used by the 4-H calendar companies from 1948 onwards, and now donated to National Ag Library. We are humbled to be named part of this group. We commend each laureate and urge you to continue to work with 4-H. Certainly the country needs 4-H, and 4-H needs you. Thank you.
A quote written for Susan Halbert in her high school yearbook guided her extension career. It read, "Give to the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you." These words directed Susan to focus her career on facilitating groups of all sizes, interests, skills, and cultural backgrounds to create positive experiences and opportunities for young people. She created youth programming in New York, Alaska, and at National 4-H Council. Susan served as the architect and facilitator of the 2002 research and strategic planning process that identified ways to improve youth development programs. The 2002 nationwide research and strategic planning process identified ways of improving youth development programs in the 21st century. It was her advocacy and the power of youth-adult partnerships to create positive community outcomes that was most evident. Key strategies which emerged from the discussion became the foundation of the National Strategic Plan for the 4-H movement, which continues to influence how 4-H engages young people in positive change across the country today. Additionally, Susan played a key role in the professional development and growth of leaders throughout the 4-H system. National 4-H Council is pleased to have nominated Susan Halbert for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Susan.
One of the joys of my life is having people remind me to move the microphone. It was indeed a big surprise in 2020 to be elected to the National 4-H Hall of Fame, and I'm very honored to be here tonight as a new laureate. And I've had over a year to think about what I wanted to say to the friends, colleagues, and family gathered here tonight. As I reflected on my career and my life with 4-H, I realized that every special memory of events, accomplishments, experiences of all kinds comes back to the importance and value of relationships, and that in the most universal terms, 4-H, in all its shapes and forms, is a family. It all starts with my family supporting me as a 4-H member. I had hoped to have the young woman who invited me to be in her club here tonight, but she was unable to make it. And it grows into me and my colleagues providing support of all kinds to the young people and their families that we serve when we become professionals in 4-H. And our families are still there to support us as we grow and learn in our new profession. And where would we be, excuse me, without the leadership of volunteers, without whom we would have little opportunity to accomplish our youth development mission? Most of those volunteers and their families become lifelong friends. As time goes on the ever-winding circle of colleagues becomes a family of its own right, as we share life experiences as well as professional development opportunities. We celebrate professional accomplishments, birthdays, marriages, retirements, and more because we have a truly caring relationship with one another. And I'm so thankful for that relationship with many, many people in this room. So tonight I say thank you to all of my family, my brothers, cousins, and their families, my colleagues and coworkers who over the span of my career have been behind me, with me, supporting me, sometimes pushing, sometimes pulling. And to the volunteers and young people who have helped me create the life experiences that I'll never forget. You've all helped me become the person I am today, and I will be forever grateful. And I want to give you two small examples of how this comes full circle as a family. My 4-H agent broke her leg, or she would be here. The first 4-H assistant I had is here with her husband tonight after 48 years. And the 4-H volunteer who chaired our council in Alaska when I moved there 42 years ago becomes my husband this Sunday.
Throughout his extension career, Greg Hutchins learned 4-H's foundation was not only in agriculture and family-based activities, but also encompassed strong values associated with public service and democratic practices. He realized that the potential impact of 4-H was much deeper than the classic public image of the county fair project. He believed 4-H is a program where youth of all abilities can find success. From County Extension Agent to Assistant Dean of Cooperative Extension and State 4-H Youth Development Program Director, Greg discovered that 4-H was the never-ending quest to help all to become better people. During his tenure, Greg looked for chances to expand programs to include youth of color, urban youth, and the after-school population. He believed 4-H was a program where any young person could have success and be a contributor. Greg also encouraged program innovation, securing a $270,000 grant for leading 31-week county engineering day camps for growing 4-H STEM. Wisconsin 4-H is proud to have nominated Greg Hutchins for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Greg. Unfortunately, Greg was unable to attend the ceremony this evening. Dr. Denver Lope, LSU Ag Center's former Vice Chancellor and Director of Cooperative Extension of 41 years, believed in youth. During his tenure, Denver encouraged all extension agents within the parsonages to dedicate time teaching and training youth. Under his leadership, 4-H worked closely with the Louisiana Public School Board to incorporate 4-H into schools as a co-curricular opportunity, a partnership that remains strong today. Denver is fondly remembered as a person that always had a genuine smile on his face and would eagerly engage in a teachable moment during a 4-H event. He spent his entire life supporting 4-H personally and professionally. Denver served on the National 4-H Council Board of Trustees and Louisiana 4-H Foundation. He was influential in the establishing of the Louisiana 4-H Foundation and was determined to provide funding for numerous 4-H events and programs. His family fondly remembers Denver embodied the motto of "to make the best better" and tried to live the 4-H pledge of heads, heart, hands, and health every day of his 92 years. Louisiana 4-H is honored to have nominated Dr. Denver Lope for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. To accept the award on his behalf is his daughter, Stephanie Teichman. Congratulations are extended to the Lope family.
Thank you. This is a lovely honor. I have the distinct privilege of accepting on behalf of my father, Denver Loop. And I want to say thank you to the 4-H National Hall of Fame Committee, to the sponsors. A special thanks you to the LSU Cooperative Extension Service and the 4-H Development Office that has been so supportive with his application. And over the 40 years that my dad worked in Extension, he loved 4-H so much. And I'll just share that in my household growing up, 4-H was very prevalent, as you can imagine. And my dad was a sugarcane specialist. So we grew up, growing sugarcane in my backyard and chewing it and, enjoying that and going to the LSU livestock shows. And, inevitably we would be involved in some teachable moment associated with 4-H, right? And the next thing I know, I'd look up and my dad would be on stage handing out an award for, some livestock award or the Dairy Queen or, whatever. And nothing made him more proud than the educational and development aspects of 4-H. So thank you for this honor.
A trailblazer in volunteer development, Theron McKinney was one of the first full-time volunteer specialists in the nation. One of his first goals was to double the volunteers' current involvement. He trained more than 26,000 volunteers to deliver educational programming. Theron's volunteer leadership models were adapted and implemented by several states. Then, under his leadership, the empowered North Carolina volunteers established the 4-H Volunteer Association. Additionally, he teamed with other specialists to introduce the TRY, Teens Reaching Youth Curriculum delivery system, into the mainstream of 4-H nationally. Another highly successful funded program Theron led was in conjunction with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, Peers Empowering Peers. The program was to connect student athletes with peer leaders and delivering curriculum related to one of the emerging issues of the day, such as bullying, substance abuse prevention, teen pregnancy prevention, and smoking cessation. Employed first with the American Youth Foundation, Theron remained faithful since both programs focused on youth leadership. He encouraged 4-H youth participation at AYF conferences, and he founded a scholarship program for youth to attend. North Carolina 4-H is thrilled to have nominated Theron McKinney for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Unable to attend, I'll share Theron's thoughts. Thank you to all who are or have been a part of the 4-H youth development programs, wherever you are. Your stories from Florida, North Carolina, and elsewhere have enriched my life and the lives of so many. Your stories have touched many people. You have provided opportunities for so many to create and celebrate their stories. I am honored to be in your company as a 2020 National 4-H Hall of Fame laureate and to represent North Carolina with this distinguished honor. Thank you also to my family for supporting my 4-H journey. Special thanks to the North Carolina 4-H team to whom I owe so much. Fondly known as Bubbly Bob, Bob Meadows served as the Virginia Cooperative Extension's Associate Director and State 4-H leader. However, Bob is most recognized as a camp enthusiast as he strengthened the educational programming at Virginia's Airfield Camp, led a statewide effort for all 6 Virginia 4-H camps to become accelerated by the American Camping Association, and directed the National Camping Institute. Furthermore, he established Virginia as an international leader in 4-H camping. A camping expert, Bob provided insight and advice to more than 23 states related to 4-H camping and risk management. The oldest of 6 children from Morgantown, West Virginia, Bob's father worked in the coal mines and his mother attended the home. A first-generation college graduate, Bob earned his bachelor's and master's of science degrees from West Virginia and a PhD at Virginia Tech. Teaching in a rural community grade school, Bob was recruited to serve as an assistant 4-H leader for the Diana Busy Bees 4-H Club. 2 years later, Bob became a 4-H agent and his experiences expanded. If the opportunity came again, Bob would be a 4-H agent. Virginia 4-H is honored to have nominated Bob Meadow for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bob.
It's a great day to be alive in the United States of America. If you were in Virginia, you'd always hear me say, it's a great day to be alive in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm blessed, as I've said. I never had the chance to be in 4-H as a boy, but I'm making up for lost time. Still got a ways to go yet. I had the privilege of working in 3 different states, plus a state of confusion from time to time. But I want to say that many sacrificed so that I could be what I am. I'm thankful to my wife and my daughter and my family. My brother's here today, and my wife and daughter are here. And I want to share a story with you. I'm blessed to work in states that valued 4-H camping as a delivery mode. It was my custom to sit with kids from time to time at mealtime because I want to know what's going on in their lives. One little girl came to me and said, Bubbly Bob, would you sit with me at dinner tonight? I said, honey, I've already sat with you once. She said, you understand, I got to talk to you. How do you resist a little 9-year-old girl with big brown eyes pleading? So I sit with her. I noticed she wasn't eating. I said, aren't you hungry? She says, Bubbly Bob, do you need a new wife? I said, honey, I'm impressed, but I'm too old for you. She says, no, my mama needs a husband. One of the greatest things that happened to me, children look up to us and think about what a good role model. That's a big responsibility, folks. Big responsibility. Kids are watching us all the time, and 4-H gives us that great opportunity to be involved, and I'm thankful. Thank you very much.
Living her dream is what Darlene Baker Millard of Arkansas 4-H State, the Arkansas 4-H state leader, did throughout her career and even now into retirement. At age 10, she wanted to become an extension agent working with 4-H because 4-H had given her a platform to shine. As a very shy Arkansas farm girl, Darlene had county extension agents and 4-H volunteers that believed in her and provided opportunities for her to grow. Darlene excelled and doors opened from rural Arkansas to world travel. As her 4-H experiences took Darlene from rural Arkansas to Chicago, Washington, D.C., and as a 4-H IFE to the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, and France. 4-H taught her that who you are is not defined by outward appearance or socioeconomic status, but by your intent and your actions. Darlene learned through 4-H you cannot always win, but you can always learn from your experiences. During her 30-plus year career with Extension working with the 4-H program, Darlene did her best to give back, to show each 4-H member that they are valued, that they had potential to realize their dreams. Arkansas 4-H is very proud to have nominated Darlene Mallard for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Darlene.
Thank you very much. Bob, you are a hard act to follow, just let me say. I am very honored and very, very, very humbled to be standing here tonight. I want to thank Dr. Martha Ray and the state of Arkansas for submitting my nomination, for believing in me. I want to thank our national partners for establishing this award and the committee for selecting me. I'm not sure how it happened, but I am delighted that it did. I'm very, very humbled. And Bob, I agree. It's a very heavy responsibility that all of us who work with 4-H. Tonight I feel like I don't accept this award for me or for anything I've done because I'm truly not special. I'm just here to represent one of the thousands of 4-H parents, volunteers, county extension or parish extension agents, state specialists, and all the way up the ladder for the things that they've done. I started out, like they said, a very young farm girl, and I learned early on that, you can make mistakes and it's okay. Like the time I took well, she started out as a heifer in the pasture, and I led her around by baling twine, and then the next year she had a calf, and my daddy tried to tell me it wasn't a good idea to take this cow to the fair with a baby calf, but I was taking Luella to the fair. So I entered the ring. I was probably 10 at this time, so I knew everything. And I was in the show ring, the calf was in the barn, the calf bawled, and guess where I ended up? On my bottom in the show ring. But I picked myself up, dusted myself off, discovered that's okay, you can be embarrassed, make a mistake, and 4-H allows you the opportunity to do it all over again. I think the beautiful thing about 4-H is that every young person can find their special skill, and they all have them, and it's been our job and our responsibility to help those young people find that skill and be the very best person they can and contribute. Albert Schweitzer said that at times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to have deep gratitude to those who have lighted the flame within us. And so I hope that all of you will continue to be that light. 4-H is certainly the light for me and for others. So I just challenge us to let's keep that light going and keep 4-H available for all the generations that are still to come. Thank you so much. I very humbly accept this award. Thank you.
Arthur Buddy Nimitz was invested in New Jersey 4-H. He came full circle from a member to volunteer to contributor. During his teen years, Buddy discovered the electric project that led to his career as an electrician. He used these life skills learned in 4-H and gave back to the 4-H program through donating his time teaching youth, repairing camp facilities, and chaperoning award trips. Under Buddy's leadership as Bergen County 4-H Fair Chairman for more than 15 years, the Bergen County 4-H Fair raised more than $50,000 to support 4-H. He served as the president and vice president of both the Bergen County 4-H Association and the State 4-H Association for multiple terms. Buddy was gifted in developing and connecting with youth and became a strong proponent for youth-adult partnerships. He also is fondly remembered as a chaperone to National 4-H Congress, a position he enjoyed for nearly 20 years. Buddy's leadership motivated both the local and state 4-H programs by extending youth-adult partnerships. New Jersey 4-H is honored to have nominated Arthur Buddy Nimitz for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. To receive the award is Mary Carmen Kunick and his daughter, Emily.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire Nimitz family, it's our Rachel, I should have did this. It's our it's my honor and our honor as a family to accept his award. Buddy began his career when he was in 4-H when he was little, as a club member. His mom worked for Extension. And he worked for a former Hall of Famer also, Roger Barr, who was a 4-H agent in Bergen County. So he was in 4-H all his life. He really loved 4-H camp and helped to build and grow our 4-H camp program in New Jersey. But most of all, he loved going and taking all of his teens to National 4-H Congress for so many years. He was a leader. He was a leader in a volunteer, a leader for his teens, a leader at the state for all the volunteers as well. Unfortunately, he passed away when he was 52. But he left this beautiful little girl here. So thank you, everyone, and thank you to all the laureates for all that you guys do in your states and nationally. These little guys benefit so much, so it's great. Thank you very much.
Jerry Parsons' 34-year extension career expanded into 3 cooperative extension services: Iowa, North Carolina, and Kansas. It was while he was at North Carolina State University as Associate Professor of Adult and Community College Education and State Training Leaders for the Agricultural Extension Service that Jerry directed a national research and development project, the Initiatives in 4-H. This led the foundation for recognition programs that continues to be used in 4-H programs across the nation. First introduced to cooperative extension service as a student needing a summer job, Jerry learned quickly and found a career in extension. Later, he spent time in North Carolina and Kansas teaching, returning to Iowa in 1980 as a state leader in 4-H and youth programs. Jerry's leadership reached 132,000 young people and 10,000 volunteers. During his tenure at Iowa State, Jerry served on the state 4-H program review committees in Wisconsin and Kansas and chaired the National 4-H Task Force and 2 National 4-H Staff Development Workshops. Iowa 4-H is delighted to have nominated Jerry Parsons for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Unable to attend the ceremony, accepting the award for Jerry will be Mitch Hoyer, Iowa State 4-H Specialist.
Well, good evening, friends. As announced, I'm Mitch Hoyer, a program specialist for the Iowa 4-H Youth Development Program. And it's certainly my pleasure to represent Jerry Parsons, his wife Diane, and the entire Parsons family on his induction into the National 4-H Hall of Fame this evening. Although he's unable to be here, I'm sure he'd appreciate a hearing from any of you, either by letter or by email. Jerry was truly an innovator during his tenure as an Iowa 4-H educator and as the Iowa 4-H program leader for much of the 1980s. He was charged to giving leadership to merging the boys and girls 4-H programs, including, as I read his bio, teaching male 4-H club leaders to teach boys in the clubs how to select their own clothes. Somewhat a radical concept in the 1960s, I would guess, with that. He initiated programs for at-risk youth and expanded urban 4-H programming across the state. He also wrote in his bio, "Sometimes I think they didn't quite know what to do with me." One of his more visible accomplishments was heading the Incentives in 4-H Task Force, which was reworked and eventually culminated in the project that he actually completed after retirement, the National 4-H Recognition Model. And that foundational piece of work led many states and county 4-H programs, including the one I was serving at the time, to revise their recognition programs and truly recognize young people for all aspects of their 4-H participation, that being participation, progress towards goals, standards of excellence, peer competition, and even cooperation. Well, Jerry's listed as the lead author. He would be very quick to acknowledge the contributions of others who contributed to those projects. His daughter Kathy recently shared with me that when she asked her dad what he wanted said at the ceremony, Jerry simply wanted everyone to know it was the people he worked with who made the effort succeed, that he wanted his staff and colleagues to be recognized along with him. Jerry Parsons truly believed in making the best better. On behalf of Jerry and his family, it's my pleasure to accept tonight. Thank you.
The firstborn of 12 children, Jim Phelps grew up in Kentucky's Appalachian region. He attended Burra College, where he worked to earn his tuition. Jim majored in agricultural sciences and returned to the Appalachian region to make a difference in the life of others that shared a similar background. Jim dedicated 40 years in Knott County Extension in the community, assisting with more than $10 million for improved infrastructure, including roads and bridges. Known throughout eastern Kentucky for his work with the Hunter Safety Program, Jim assisted with training youth and their parents in gun and archery safety techniques, regulations, marksmanship, and good sportsmanship. Over the years, he worked with thousands of youth, introducing them to the sport that he loved. Jim served as the first NAE 4-HA historian. In his position, he spent countless hours organizing and binding documents associated with early history of 4-H in the association. Before retiring from the position, he worked with others on the massive collection donated by Elsie Carper that is housed in the National Agriculture Library. NAE 4-H YDP members are proud to have nominated Jim Phelps for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. To receive the award on Jim's behalf is Betty Gottler, nominator and current NA 4-H YDP archivist. Congratulations are extended to Jim's family.
And what a privilege it is for me to speak a little bit about Jim. As the historian of NAE 4-HA YDP for almost 13 years, James I. Phelps Jr. spent a week each spring working on the archives, sorting, cataloging, binding documents. He and Jan Scholl from Pennsylvania, who was an inductee Tuesday night in the 21 class, also collaborated with National 4-H Council on the Elsie Carper collection that is now in the National Ag Library in Bethesda. Jim was a true Kentucky gentleman. He believed in family, church, and community. He believed in service. Jim was a friend to many and a mentor to both young and old. The National Association salutes Jim and his family in continuing his legacy. He was truly a servant of God and a servant of mankind.
A Wyoming 4-H alumna, Marie Rice co-founded Kodiak 4-H through the Alaska Cooperative Extension Service in 1972. Since its inception, her 7 children, foster children, grandchildren, and countless others have been active members under her watchful eyes. A school teacher and counselor by profession, Marie realized the need for youth involvement in community and personal development. 4-H became that vehicle. She served as project leader for gardening, livestock, and home economics. Her rural home and property became the gathering place for youth to learn how to make the best better. A master gardener and member of the Kodiak Garden Club, Marie worked on a project to beautify the city and fairgrounds. Additionally, she was involved with the Kodiak Soil and Water Conservation District in establishing 2 community gardens with high tunnel greenhouses with the Alaska Department of Agriculture. Marie's influences with 4-H and education gave her the chance to serve on the National Department of Education Ag in the Classroom team. In 2019, Marie was honored as Agriculture Person of the Year by the Alaska State Farm Bureau. Alaska 4-H is honored to have nominated Marie Rice for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Marie.
This is a great honor. I have a few notes here. Thank you to everyone who made this possible, especially Barbara Zimmerman and Kate Shaberg in Kodiak, Alaska, who nominated me for this award, and all the other amazing leaders and youth I've worked with over the years. I'm so grateful for all that 4-H has brought into my life. 4-H didn't teach me everything I know, but it taught me I can learn to do anything I want to. 4-H has been a huge part of my life and my children's lives. My 46 years as a 4-H leader has been an incredible experience. The 4-H motto, to make the best better, is something I've strived to make my motto in all aspects of my life. So thank you, 4-H, for making me a life better.
For the past 30 years, Oregon youth have been learning life skills in natural sciences, leadership, and communications, guided by Sherm and Faye Solly. A 10-year alumna of Oregon 4-H, Faye met Sherm at Oregon State University while studying entomology. Sherm learned how 4-H was integrated into Faye's life, so he embraced 4-H's experimental learning concepts too. A career Air Force family, the Sollys engaged and invested in several states' 4-H programs teaching youth about natural sciences, especially entomology and forestry. Faye and Sherm gathered the best ideas from those states and utilized them when forming a thriving community club in Oregon. Their club encouraged youth of all ages to work together and could boast of participating in as many as 12 different 4-H projects at the same time. Oregon 4-H is pleased to have nominated Faye and Sherm Solly for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, Sherm has passed since our virtual celebration, and Faye is unable to attend this evening. Accepting the award on their behalf is Marilyn Lesmeister, acting Oregon State 4-H leader. Our congratulations are extended to their family.
Good evening. Faye Solly says this: for me, 4-H is a way of life. I grew up in a 4-H family and continue today as a volunteer. Sherm became involved in 4-H when he married me. I was a 4-H IFI to Nepal in 1965, at a time when people in our country wanted to go back to the good old days. In going to Nepal, I stepped back in time as most of the rural country had no electricity or indoor plumbing, increasing my appreciation of what my country has to offer me. Sherm was in the Air Force for 20 years. Together, we learned about 4-H in other states as we moved with his career. In recent years, 4-H members named Sherm as the Cookie Monster, as he enjoyed their project work. Here are a few of my beliefs. This is Faye speaking. 4-H is an environment where whole families can learn and develop together. Awards are the fringe benefit. Special gifts are things like produce from our gardens that we share with others. The opportunity to learn about forestry on the shores along Oregon's Willamette Valley River. Building a big house so it's designed for multiple 4-H projects to meet on the same night. Youth Scholarship Awards from 4-H, really great 4-H records, and cookies for Sherm. Sherm passed in March of this year. I'm still recovering from extensive foot surgery, making it difficult for me to be with you here tonight. I want to thank the people that were involved in making this possible. The partners and sponsors, thank you, and to the National Hall of Fame Committee. And she's thanking previous Oregon recipients of this award, Lillian Larwood and Nellie Ayler, and the Lynn County 4-H agent, Andrea Leo, for their help in this nomination. And she says, my mom, a 50-year-plus leader, would be proud of us. Yeah.
Glenn Snyder Jr.'s influence in 4-H spanned more than 3 decades, providing leadership for West Virginia's youth as a county and state educator. His background was in an agricultural farm, growing up on a farm, earning his university degrees, and gaining firsthand experiences. Glenn believed 4-H is the way of life, having influenced his family for more than 70 years, first his mother and then his own family. He was blessed throughout his career as he did what he loved and loved what he did. He stated that while cattle, sheep, and hogs were end products, the livestock was only the tool used to help young people grow and develop. The true reward was assisting the young people in raising champion livestock. The real satisfaction was watching those young people become leaders in different ventures from local to international levels. Glenn believed it is important to leave this world a better place because of our efforts. 4-H gave him opportunities to give back to youth, families, and communities where ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. West Virginia 4-H is proud to have nominated Glenn Snyder for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Unable to attend, Brent Clark, West Virginia's 4-H leader, will accept on Glenn's behalf.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to represent Glenn Snyder Jr. Want to know Glenn is happy and healthy in his home in Morgantown, and he sends his regrets for not being able to be here tonight. But Glenn asked me to share a few of his words. And first off, he wants to share his appreciation for the Hall of Fame committee and the sponsors. And he would specifically like to thank Nancy Valentine for her help in preparing the nomination and in making other arrangements for this week, as well as Dr. Rita Marks. Both of them are in attendance tonight. They're great friends of Glenn, and he wanted to share his thanks to both of you, as well as Mildred Pfizer, who is also a fellow Hall of Fame inductee. He would like to thank all of them for their support throughout his career. He would also like to thank his friends and his peers where he lives in Morgantown, the village of Heritage Point. Many of those folks are past 4-H members and past 4-H volunteers and supporters and professionals, and they've all been very supportive of this nomination and also of Glenn in a variety of ways. Glenn, through 4-H, has been provided a strong network of friends that have lasted a lifetime. And Glenn said it's a blessing to interact and to be connected with so many people who are committed to the ideals of 4-H. Last and certainly not least is Glenn's family and his appreciation for his family. His family was his major and is his major support group. He has 5 generations within his family who have been involved in 4-H, starting with his mother as a 4-H club leader. His mother and Glenn's wife was a 4-H member and active in West Virginia 4-H. She was always supportive of him and his work. His daughter and future son-in-law were both active in 4-H in West Virginia. His grandson managed the WVU dairy show herd. And most recently, he's been extremely proud that his great-grandson has just started his 4-H career as a clover bud. And so far, he loves it. And Glenn's just tickled. He talks about that all the time. His family sacrificed much time with him throughout the years, and as you can see, 4-H was a way of life with Glenn. On behalf of Glenn and his family and his friends and his colleagues and West Virginia University, it's my great honor and pleasure to represent him and to thank him for his contributions to the 4-H program. We look forward to celebrating this recognition with Glenn and his family back in West Virginia. Thank you.
Bill Svensgaard says, growing up on a farm near Canada and away from the outside world, 4-H became his link to a wider, multicultural array of people. As a young 4-H member, he remembers being a delegate on the Minnesota-Mississippi Exchange before civil rights, hosting an IFI from Jordan, and traveling to Switzerland as an IFI. Travel opened the world to him. 4-H also directed his career path through experimental learning. Bill developed a hands-on teaching method that became an innovative model that led him to teach it for the education department at the University of Minnesota. This led Bill to direct the University of Pittsburgh's model of individualized prescribed instruction for public schools in 3 states. An urban 4-H agent and educator, Bill developed 4-H clubs with underserved audiences, including the Metro 4-H Art Force. Bill enjoyed judging art projects, and a memorable day was when a young boy said, "I've waited a whole year to see you again and show you my art." It was then Bill realized how important it was to provide creative learning opportunities. Minnesota 4-H is pleased to have nominated Bill Svensgaard for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bill.
Hello. I want to thank Jennifer Scusa, Director of Minnesota 4-H Extension Program, for nominating me, along with Karen Santel. And I want to thank my wife, Elgene, for being here to support me, and my nephew, Liddell, and his wife, Mary, and my niece, Chrissy, and her husband, Tom, and the 3 children who are the 4th generation of 4-Hers in that family. I have one experience to share. 1991, Russia, USSR collapsed. The Komsomol, the Youth Communist League, because of perestroika, had opened up to the West. And I got the invitation to go and teach at the University of Syktyvkar, which is the capital of Komi region, 1,000 miles from Moscow. And I'd be teaching Russian students, and also going to high schools to teach teachers about the 4-H model of experiential learning. One of the participants in this particular class turned out to be also an artist. And brought to me what she had drawn. You can't see it from there, but I'll tell you what's on it, and you can see it later if you choose. I'm sitting on a desk. Behind me is my wife taking notes. Over my head was a portrait of Karl Marx, the founder of communism, and my translator translating to what I was saying about experiential learning. And I want to say what she wrote in Russian, which was translated to me. Listen to the American, teach you how to think. Not how to work, but how to think. And I got to thinking, bingo, the whole purpose of my class was that problem. And coming to the edge of the stage, I'd like to call Anthony up, and Katie, and Lauren, because to think, you all know that it is the first line of our 4-H pledge. Say it with me. I pledge my head to clear thinking. And my health to better living. Thank you.
A career described as a journey in a lifelong learning, connections, and partnerships is how Kendra Wells remembers her 34 years with Maryland Extension. Her work was grounded in the belief that youth, volunteers, and communities possess the knowledge and leadership skills to create programs and to create opportunities that meet their interests and needs. Kendra engaged the audiences she worked with and valued the connection she had with 4-H members, volunteers, and colleagues. She also appreciated collaborating and cooperating with non-extension partners. Kendra served on a local, state, and national committees focused on strengthening and expanding 4-H programs, youth development, youth adult partnerships, and professional development initiatives and strategies for learning. As Maryland's 4-H military liaison, Kendra coordinated outreach programs for youth in active duty, Guard, and reserve military families, along with Army and Navy youth development programs in Europe. She was the principal investigator of Maryland's Children, Youth, and Families at Risk Project and provided leadership for the development of 4-H after-school programs. A member of the National 4-H History Preservation Steering Committee, she assisted with the Voices of 4-H History Celebration. Maryland 4-H is honored to have nominated Kendra for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Kendra.
.4-H always has been a part of my life. My father, Max Buckles, started his extension career as a 4-H agent in Baltimore County, Maryland. And I'm here tonight because of my family and the countless 4-H youth, volunteers, colleagues, mentors, and lifelong friends who have worked together to make the best better. So I want to take this time to introduce some of those important people to you. I guess I won't ask them to stand, but maybe they're seated midway back on the left-hand side, most of them. My husband, John, an Ohio 4-H'er and a longtime 4-H volunteer. My mother, Bee, who was a 4-H volunteer in our community. My sisters, Carrie and Kristen, who were both 4-H members, with their husbands, Brooke and Bill. Our daughter, Kelsey, a 4-H alum, who knows it's not always easy to be the 4-H educator's daughter. With her husband, Bill, and their children, Anders. Anders had his first 4-H experience this spring in a virtual Clover Critter Club. And Darren, his younger sister, who, like many younger siblings, sat with him through most of the meetings and wanted to do the activities right along with him. Our daughter, Ashley, also a 4-H alum, and her family couldn't be with us this evening. I want to thank Sandra Mason, my 4-H colleague and sister from the heart, who prepared the Hall of Fame application, and the University of Maryland 4-H faculty and staff who supported the nomination. I don't know if Dr. Nia Fields is here this evening. There she is, our state 4-H program leader, so thank you, Nia, and John English, a colleague who recently retired. Like for many of you, 4-H has been a lifelong journey in learning and service. I mentioned in the write-up, you can see that I'm passionate about the legacy of 4-H and thankful to be a part of a team that is preserving 4-H history. I am proud that 4-H in Maryland and across the nation is building on that legacy in ways that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that provide youth opportunities to create positive change in the world. I am humbled and honored to be inducted into the 4-H Hall of Fame with the amazing 2020 laureates, who have each made contributions to the development of youth, families, and communities in significant and creative ways. And I want to thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee, to our partners, and to all who have made this celebration possible. Thank you.
Helene Zoig has been the rock of the Hawaii 4-H program for 4 decades. While the 4-H program has gone through some rough times in the past, Helene's fundamental presence assisted Hawaii 4-H through the difficult times. Helene's contributions improved the Hawaii community that led to activities and outreach programs for underprivileged, mentally and physically handicapped, which are still impacting people today. Her pioneering spirit and can-do approach to challenges benefited countless individuals through Hawaii's 4-H program, included starting the first urban 4-H clubs, establishing clubs for handicapped youth, and coordinating the Japanese exchange. When Helene served as the 4-H specialist for the Honolulu district, the district led Hawaii in the number of 4-H members, program involvement, and leadership achievement. The prime motivator in establishing the Hawaii 4-H Alumni Association, Helene's leadership led to association contributing monetary support for Hawaii's delegation to the National 4-H Congress, the National 4-H Conference, and the Hawaii State 4-H Conference. Through her efforts, the group raised more than $500,000 to fund endowments to secure funding for their programs. Hawaii 4-H is honored to have nominated Helene Zoig for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Jeff Goodwin, Interim Associate Dean and Associate Director of Hawaii Cooperative Extension Service, will accept the award on Helene's behalf.
Aloha. Y'all can do better now. Aloha. That's better. So Helene Zoig sends her regrets for not being able to be with you tonight. But one quick note before I get started. Helene's only the second person to ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The first person was Ellison Onizuka. He was inducted in that original class in 2002, nearly 20 years after the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. So, and guess who nominated him for that? Helene did. Kind of comes around. A little bit about Helene. Youth work was not her original career choice. She originally wanted to be a nurse. There's only one problem with that career choice. She recoils at the sight of blood. She'd have been a good one, but anyway. But with guidance from her very first 4-H leader, Mrs. Lai, in Little O Waiheia, Maui, she developed a lifetime commitment, focus, and dedication to 4-H. She credits her coworkers, her colleagues, many 4-H volunteers, and especially that first 4-H leader for starting her on the path of service. Service to more than 2 generations of young people in the Hawaii 4-H program. As Helene nears her 81st birthday, Parkinson's has robbed her of most of her independence, mobility, and cognitive function. But she knows why you're all here tonight, and she wishes with all of her heart that she could be here. To the Hall of Fame laureates here this evening, Helene expresses congratulations for the recognition of your life's work to help make youth make the best better through the 4-H program. Helene also and her family expresses the sincere thanks to the Hawaii 4-H Alumni Association for this nomination. You know, I started these few comments with that word, aloha. You need to understand that word has 3 meanings. It means hello, it means goodbye, and it also means love. So with that in mind, I'll close by telling you that Helene sends her aloha to everybody in this room tonight. Mahalo.
Can you hear? There it goes. Thank you, Abigail, for that heartfelt presentation. Congratulations, National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates. What amazing stories of knowledge, courage, and perseverance. Thank you for your 4-H contributions and your piece of the rich 4-H history. If you remain after the close of the ceremonies, we would like to take a group photo on stage. Before we are dismissed for the reception located in the ballroom and foyer, there are several other individuals we would like to thank. Starting with our photographers and video technician, Edwin Nimsberg, for capturing the special moment. We would also like to thank Jeffrey Greensworld and Flores for the boutonnieres and corsages, the Division of Youth and 4-H, USDA for printing the programs, the Dr. Mike Davis Family 4-H Endowment for Innovation and Excellence for their contribution of the memory books, NAE 4-H YDP and American Income Life for assisting with the reception. And please check your program for other sponsors contributing to the videotaping and youth participants lodging. Finally, we thank the 3 National 4-H Hall of Fame partners, National 4-H Council, 4-H National Headquarters, and the National Association of Extension 4-H Youth Development Professional for their efforts in organizing tonight's ceremony. As our time comes to a close for this National 4-H Hall of Fame ceremony, let us once more congratulate our 2020 National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates. We honor you for your countless hours and devotion to making the best better. Thank you for your contributions to 4-H and its youth. Laureates, please stand and turn to the audience so you can be recognized. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your evening. I've had a great time celebrating with you.